everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. So today we're doing a little bit something different. It's my birthday today. I have to get ready because I have to leave the house, but I promised that I would film a video about the whisper method because I realized that I haven't really done a dedicated video on it yet, except for on TikTok. So let's get right into it. The all famous whisper method. Now, everybody wants to know about it. A lot of people tried it. By the way, if you have tried it before and it doesn't work for you, I have my website linked down below. I do have a free guide that can give you some tips on what you can maybe do differently and try it out and see if that works for you. But let's talk about what the whisper method actually is. So basically what the whisper method does is it's just utilizing thought transmission. That's literally all it is. So it's basically just a designated technique that teaches you how to have a conversation with somebody. You don't need it in order to have a conversation. You can just do it by thinking about them and visualizing talking to them. But the beauty of the whisper method is that you're basically telling the person what to do, almost like a ghost-like figure, and a lot of people just identify with that, I think, a bit more easily. And going into full-blown conversation might be a bit much for them. And apart from the fact it's easy, it's quick, so you can really do it within 5 minutes and be done with it for the rest of the day. So basically all you have to do is take a few minutes, sit down in a quiet place, breathe in, breathe out a couple times, and visualize the person that you want something from. You can visualize them sitting in their room or something where you feel like they would be comfortable or whatever. You can see the back of their head. You're walking into the room basically as a ghost. You lean into their ear, you whisper 3 times what you want them to do or say, whatever the case may be, and then you see them starting to take action towards that. So if you want a text message, for example, you would see them pulling out their phone and looking up your name. While they're doing that, you're basically backing out of the room, slowly closing the door behind you. That's pretty much it. I know there's like different variations where people like kiss their forehead or whatever, but that's really not necessary. Like you don't need to actually make contact even in the 4D. In order for it to work. You're basically just envisioning them doing what you told them to do, and that's the whisper method. That's it. What a lot of people, however, especially when they're doing it and it's not working like the first time around, do wrong is the fact that they did the technique, they come out of it, and then let's say you want a text message, immediately check their phone and they see, well, there's nothing there. And then they get upset and they're like, well, it didn't work for me. You can't do that. With every technique that you do that comes from the law of assumption, which again, those techniques are literally just meant to get you into the state of you having what you want already. You cannot go around and look for it. And this is the number one question. You know, I always ask people when they're like, well, but why can't I? Or why shouldn't I? The goal is to be in a state of mind where you already have what you want. If you already had the text message, would you be checking every 5 minutes to see if it's there? I guarantee you would not. Because you would already know that it's there. And maybe you'd even be so excited, especially if this is someone who ghosted you, for example, that they finally messaged you, that you might be even playing some games with them and might not reply right away, or, you know, play hard to get or whatever, which you do you. Whatever works for you, you can do. So when you're checking your phone, you're doing the exact opposite of what it is that you would be doing had the technique worked for you. So always keep that in mind when you're doing any technique, really, not just the whisper method. The whisper method is probably so popular because it gives fast results to so many people. However, sorry, I had something stuck in my eye for some reason. However, the number one thing that I think plays a huge role if you are actually doing everything right? Let's say you did the technique, you're keeping a good mental diet. I don't necessarily like that word, but that's the word that's being used. You're keeping a good mental diet, you're doing everything you're supposed to do, and it's still not working, even though you haven't checked, you haven't done anything. I think the biggest misconception is that people think, well, it doesn't work for me because I'm just the exception. No, the law of assumption always works. You have no faith in the fact that it works. And this is where it all hinges. If you keep telling yourself, well, it doesn't work for me, it only works for other people, or I am the exception and the law of assumption is just really hard for me, that's exactly what you're gonna get no matter. And I promise you, no matter which technique you do, you can do every technique under the sun. You're still gonna get the exact same result because you have so much faith in the fact that it doesn't work that it can't work. It's impossible to work. So if you are someone who does struggle with it, I would say give it another try. Literally just the way you normally would. Just test it out and do everything the way you would normally do it. And then write down the steps that you've taken. So I've done the method. And then maybe I checked the 3D after, or I had this like anxiety feeling in my gut that it wouldn't work. Literally just make a list of all the things that you are naturally doing without monitoring yourself, because that way you can actually see where the flaw in the system is when you're doing this technique and then tackle that directly. So you might be doing everything right, but if you have anxiety, that's where you should be affirming for versus doing the method over and over and over again. Because if you don't find the flaw in the system, what's going to happen is you're going to continue to do the technique. You're going to continue to be disappointed, which just strengthens your faith that it doesn't work out for you. And there's no reason for you to have to go through that. The technique works for everybody. There might just be a specific reason why it might not work for you, but everything, and I do promise you this, everything is fixable. And once you figure that out and you have this technique at your disposal, it's really, really great to use for something that's time pressing or that's just really small that you just want done like immediately right away to get it out of the way. So if you have any more questions, please make sure you leave a comment. Please like, subscribe if you like this kind of content, and I will see you in the next video, guys.